Okay, good morning. We're going to follow up today from our last presentation and dig a little deeper in some of the topics we talked about last time. Please ask as many questions or comments as you may have. So again, we're focused on specialized verticals again, but we're going to dig deeper and talk about some of the technology that'll help you close this business. So first, we're going to talk about the law vertical that we talked about last time. We're going to be rolling out soon an entity called Esquire Payments, which will be powered by EPSG, so you can go to law firms and other legal related businesses and show that we have a specialized vertical that satisfies all the needs of the law industry. When you start with law firms, you want to find out what percent is card present and what is card not present. From my experience in general, most cards are not present. They're mostly getting the client credit card information and then running it. So a terminal, which a lot of firms give to merchants, to law firms, is not really appropriate or necessary. And we'll talk a little further about that and how USAE Pay really digs into this and is the right solution. One thing that doesn't happen all the time, but is important to be able to convey to law firms, is that we're able to have a separate bank account to track trust and operating accounts separately. Sometimes it's a requirement. It's interesting, the firms out there that are really focused on this, that we're going to go after, really sell this, and we're going to be able to sell it under Esquire Payments as well, and we can do it now just under UPSG. But in the 10 or 15 law firms I have, it hasn't really come up yet. But again, it's an important feature to be able to provide, that you can tell the law firms, the office manager law firms, that we can segregate the money coming in and the fees going out in terms of trust and operating accounts. Again, if anyone has questions on that, please send them to me, because that's an important feature. Okay, the technology and how you sell law firms. USAE Pay is the perfect partner for us from a cost and a service perspective. So since in general law firms are not having a card present environment, we don't need the terminal, and we use the virtual terminal via USAE Pay. In general, if they're just using the basic terminal, I'd recommend charging $10 a month, which is very reasonable. There's usually a little bit of profit in there for you, and they get the features they need. One of the features they love versus a terminal is obviously they can email receipt all their clients when they're charged versus a paper copy. It's one small feature that I've found that the office managers really like. The ones that sometimes are needed, sometimes are not, is if they want to store client data. USAE Pay has that. That feature, by the way, if you haven't used it before, is really called or meant for recurring payments, when a customer has like a monthly or quarterly payment. But that's the same feature that you use, that you store customer data, so that even if it's not recurring, but you go back in and don't have to keep asking the client, the customer, for the data. That law firms really like, and when we get into healthcare, they really like that as well. USAP now has an invoicing option, which I haven't used yet, but I think it's going to be a very powerful feature to use and offer to law firms, even if they don't use it, to show that we have that option is really important. I'm still learning about it. Haven't used it yet, but I think it's really important. Again, the few big 500-pound gorilla payment companies that focus on law firms have this feature as well. So it's great that we can offer it now. To the degree you want to save the law firm money on the times that they have card present, with USAE Pay, to be EMV compliant, you'd offer the MP250. They still have the old swipers if you really want to have someone use that, or if they have it, but obviously that's not EMV compliant. Also, another small nice feature is through USAE Pay, you can create a link to a payment page. So some law firms like to offer their clients the ability to pay online. It's really simple. USAE Pay can help you set that up with the law firm's local IT guy. And it's pretty simple. So those are most of the features within law that you really want to focus on. On top of that, when we get this rollout of Esquire Payments, you can say that a lawyer within your firm is overseeing this. You can always use me as a resource. It's a great vertical. Most people in our position in sales are not going after it, and it's just a great vertical that I implore you to focus more on, to the degree you have access. And as we roll out this specialized approach from a marketing perspective, it's going to only help you close more business. Healthcare, very similar. Normally a terminal is needed, which is one difference because in healthcare, it's obviously mostly face-to-face. You want to give them obviously the ability to get the card present rates. The only other thing I want to say, like I have a very large physical therapy chain, about 15 locations. They love the USAE Pay savings client data feature. They think it's a much better client experience for their patients, so they don't have to keep asking for the card. They're willing to even have that higher rate of card not present, which I've conveyed to them. But they love that they now have thousands of patients stored at their locations through that feature of USAE Pay. The extra benefit there as well for us is it becomes very sticky and very difficult for them, or very tedious if they ever want to leave once they have all that customer data stored in there. So whether it's doctors, dentists, physical therapists, or anything else within healthcare, again, I'd lead with USAE Pay, lead with your provider terminal for the face-to-face, and use USAE Pay as the gateway to store data. If they want to do that, obviously you could, instead of giving them a terminal, do the MP, but that's probably not necessary. So here's two verticals to focus on: law and healthcare, if you aren't already. Hopefully I gave you some nice features to focus on to how to sell it. Please convey to me if you need more information or want to discuss this further. But those are very consistent volume type merchants that become sticky, consistent, and great people to do business with. And again, very office manager centric, meaning if you can get in with the office managers, you don't really even need the relationship so much with the doctors, dentists, lawyers, because they let the office managers decide this part of their business, which I think makes it even easier. So the other vertical we touched upon the other day, Verosa, to the degree you guys haven't been involved, is a plug-in solution that specifically allows us to do business and integrate with QuickBooks for POS and financial. There may be other parts of QuickBooks they're in the process of doing, but those are the ones I know of. They really do a nice job. Kevin Kahn is the partner there that we work with mostly directly. Again, he did a 17 location installation for me, did it really well. There were hiccups, but he was a great problem solver and did a great job and allows us to do that business. So don't ever walk away from someone who's doing processing through Quicken or using QuickBooks with any processor. It's a great solution. Please take advantage of it. The cost is $20 a month if it's a non-EMV solution and $30 if it's EMV. There are not that many EMV solutions out there for QuickBooks, so we have a competitive advantage there, and they're doing a nice job with it. The way it works is you can give a terminal for the client, for the customer face-to-face, and then they give you a gateway, whether it's USAE Pay or someone else, as the backup, which I think is another great feature that you can tell to merchants that you're giving them insurance policy that when the terminals ever go down, they have a backup gateway, which again is another thing that helped me win that business. Can't say enough good things about Verosa to get you into the QuickBooks market, and I would take advantage of it. And if you run across it, know that we can do that business and do it well. So here's three different verticals to focus on: law, which I'm very excited about, and again, please use me as a resource; healthcare, which is kind of just a follow-up to how we're building out the law; and then Verosa, which I didn't know about till I got this piece of business. So please focus on QuickBooks, and whenever you come across a merchant who's doing QuickBooks, explain to them that we can do that business and do it really well. So again, obviously email questions, thoughts, really, whether it's these verticals or others. I really wanted to, my point of these two presentations was to get you thinking, not to just be a generalist, but to try to be a niche player in certain industries, because you can really grow your business in a more efficient way than the generalist approach, which you all need to do as well. The law, I don't think there's a lot of salespeople at EPSG focus on. I'm going to really bang that over your heads to focus on it. You'll see in the next month or so this Esquire Payments being launched. We'll have a website. You can go to law firms and say we have a specialized vertical there, and we put great emphasis on it. Really, really can't say enough of that you guys should be focused on it. Again, email questions, topics you want me to go over for the next sets of presentations. We're here to help you support and grow your business. Hope these things are helping, and we're going to continue rolling them out. I'm going to have another follow-up if I get questions on these verticals. If not, I want to move on to the next topic. So please send me emails, call, any questions related to these verticals that you have, and go out there and sell them. And I want to hear about success stories sooner than later, hopefully. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I'm always here to help as a resource. Thanks, guys.